Now, we understand the former president, Donald Trump, is set to appear in court for felony charges of trying to overturn the results of the 2020 U.S. election. And due to this, we're joined by VOA correspondent Peter Clotty to give us more information about what we need to know about matters emanating from this particular case. Peter, it's great to see you. Great for your time right here. Let's start with this particular case, because in Africa, former president being indicted is random. It's really hard to hear such. So, and this might include Kenya and other African countries. So let's talk about the legal impact around this particular case. Does this prosecution set any dangerous precedent? And if so, what exactly is a precedent?
Well, Jesse, thank you very much for having me at this early morning here in Washington. Well, we are really in uncharted waters. This is the first time that a former head of state or president of the United States is facing all these legal challenges. But some of his critics say he had it coming to him, and that he felt he was above the law, and that he could have political cover from Republicans, both in the lawmaking bodies, talking about the Senate or the House of Representatives, and his teaming supporters will shield him. And they even suggest that his decision to seek re-election to come back, he's now the leading contender to win the Republican nomination, although he has a plethora of challenges. That the reason why he's decided to put his heart in the game is such that he would have a political cover, because when he is the president, the law or the working of the Justice Department is that you don't indict or prosecute a sitting head of state. So,
well, Peter, I'll have to cut you short. We seem to have a small issue with the sound. We'll sort it out on our end as we come back to you. So kindly hold on right there. Peter Clotty right there, VOA correspondent, just giving us an update about the legal impact around that particular case facing the former president, Donald Trump, who is set to appear in court in terms of those felony charges he is facing. But before we go back to Peter Clotty, let's take a look at what's happening in Somalia, where in some bizarre news, Somalia's Athletics Federation chairwoman, Hadijo Aden Dahir, has been suspended over alleged nepotism after a video of a Somali runner making rounds on social media had tongues wagging across the globe. In this clip, a clearly untrained 20-year-old Nasir Ali is seen failing to keep up with fellow runners in a 100-meter race in China. The 20-year-old clocked 21.81 seconds, finishing dead last. Somalia's sports minister Mohamed Bare Mohamud said on Wednesday that queries posed to the National Olympic Committees revealed that Ali had no background in running or any other sport for that matter.
处在第一位，率先撞线，全力的去冲啊！这一枪11秒58，到最后似乎想收着劲儿跑，但是已经收不住。似乎想收着劲儿跑，但是已经收不住。
Well, what a bizarre story right there. Shifting focus, the Safal Eye in the Wild Photography Competition 2023 is set to run from 28th July to September 15th, 2023, with the aim of igniting conversations and raising awareness about environmental conservation through the power of photography. Additionally, it is expected to foster meaningful engagements and sustainable partnerships with stakeholders and communities in the built environment markets. The annual campaign was launched in 2017 under the name MRM Eye in the World Photography Competition.
Can we give Anthony another round?
This is the 5th edition of Eye in the Wild, which we're very proud to run. Why do we do this? We have, as many of you know, we have 4 pillars on our CSR. It is health, education, it's shelter and environment. We do a lot, I think, and we're very proud of what we're doing both in health and education. We want to expand to do more, both on shelter and environment, and I think in environment, there's a lot of things to do. Also, one of our core values in the group is care for employees, communities, and environment. So actually,
now let's take you back to that story we are closely following on in terms of international news from the United States, as former President Donald Trump is set to appear in court for felony charges of trying to overturn the results of the 2020 election. We just started the conversation a little bit earlier on with Peter Clotty, who's a VOA correspondent joining us from Washington, D.C. And thanks for your time, Peter. Earlier on, I cut you short as you were breaking down the legal implications in terms of the precedent this particular case will set in terms of a former president being indicted. Talk to us about it.
Well, Jesse, the former president is supposed to appear in court this afternoon, a few minutes drive from here, 10 minutes walk from here at the VOA office here in Washington, D.C. And, some of his supporters are saying that these charges that he faces, federal charges that he faces, are politically motivated because recent polls show that he is neck and neck with incumbent President Joe Biden if President Biden decides to run again. Of course, he's made a decision, but you never know. Others are saying he is not too big to face the law, because the law requires that everybody faces, once you break the law, you must be held to account. So these are two competing narratives. We are unfortunately in uncharted waters. So nobody knows what is going to happen, the political fallout. But ironically, former President Trump is gaining strength. Most of his, apart from one or two former Vice President Pence is supporting the charges against him, because he told the world yesterday that President Trump had asked him to choose between the Constitution and supporting him while he was president, and he decided to choose the Constitution. So he doesn't think that President Trump is fit to run for office. Now, interestingly, Bill Barr, the Attorney General under President Trump, said that he has come to the realization that President Trump knew that he lost the election. However, he surrounded himself with so-called crackpot lawyers who he wanted to hear from, and he took his advice from there. So we are on uncharted waters. Let's see how things go. But he will be arrested this afternoon when he goes to court, and then he will be formally charged in court here in Washington, D.C. this afternoon.
Okay, before I let you go, Peter, what do the numerous legal perils mean exactly for his 2024 bid, especially if he's convicted and sentenced?
Well, it is very difficult to say. However, there are two legal opinions. Some are saying that even if he is charged and even if he is prosecuted, it will take a long time for him, and that, perhaps the election might have occurred before if he is found guilty and in prison. And because of that, if the election occurs, he wins the election, he might be in office, stay in office until after his rule or after his term of office expires. Others are saying it's not so, and that because it's a felony, he will not be able to occupy the position as the president of the United States. So these are two legal competing opinions here at the moment. It remains to be seen how this will be concluded. So we are all watching and waiting.
Well, uncharted waters will definitely monitor closely. Peter Clotty joining us from Washington, D.C., VOA correspondent, who's definitely following closely on the Trump case, even as VOA English to Africa service is set to offer coverage on that particular appearance in court. As Peter mentioned, he's set to be arrested and formally charged today. We'll definitely keep you updated on what transpires in the United States, even in the run-up to the 2024 election. Allow us to take a short break right now. When we come back, we shift focus back to Africa, where we seek to answer the question, are military takeovers on the rise in Africa? If so, what exactly is necessitating them? Find out more after the break. Stay with us.